Well, it's official. West Virginia is now the worst team in the Big 12 Conference as they drop their game to Iowa State by the score of 31-14. So pull up a chair, sit back, relax, and get my thoughts on the Mountaineers and how they should move forward. What is up, college sports fans, fellow members of Mountaineer Nation? This is Coos. Welcome into another edition of Coos' Corner. So pull that chair up and let me serve you up this shot of top shelf college football content. On tap in this show, a recap and my thoughts on West Virginia's 31-14 drubbing at the hands of the Iowa State Cyclones, what went wrong in that game, and how the program should move forward after that drubbing. Well, for the first time that I can remember in my life as a West Virginia fan, we are at the bottom of a conference. If we have been at the bottom of a conference in my lifetime, I don't remember when it was. But if I'm not mistaken, even the year that we went 4-8 under Dana Holgorsen, we were not the worst team in the Big 12. I think we might have been next to last or maybe even eighth. I don't remember for sure, but I don't think we were last. But here we are, 1-5 in the league, 3-6 overall. A lot of questions surrounding the program. Let's start with on the field. Let's look at the offense. The offense was absolutely horrific in this game. I mean, absolutely horrific. The defense, in my opinion, actually played good enough to win the game. But the offense gave them absolutely zero help. Only 21 minutes of time of possession in this game for the Mountaineers. Couldn't stay on the field. It was 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Oliver Straw punted 9 times in this game. 9 times West Virginia had to punt in this game. Just terrible performance offensively. This may be a controversial take for some of you, but I've got to give credit to my friend Mountaineer Paul, who basically called this 2 or 3 weeks ago. He said that JT Daniels should be benched. Now, I disagreed with Paul at that time about that. I thought it was a hot take. I didn't agree with it, and didn't think JT was the reason we were losing, and I still don't think he was the reason we were losing. But what I do think, after watching him regress over the course of the last several weeks, one of two things. Either he's not as good as we thought he was, or he's got something going on with him, like an injury type situation, because his throws were way off on Saturday. He was leaving a lot of throws short. I mean, he was missing simple throws, guys. It's not like he was missing hard throws. He was missing routine throws. And he was also missing a lot of deep throws that he was making in the first few games of the season. Like Pitt in Kansas, his long ball was on the money in those first few weeks of the season. That hasn't been the case lately, and especially on Saturday. Let me kind of go over with you what JT's stats were in this game. He was 8 out of 22. 8 out of 22. That's a 36% completion percentage, folks. 36% for only 81 yards. 3.7 average, only 1 touchdown and threw 1 pick. His QBR, which rates 1 through 100, 22.3. I mean, that's one of the worst performances I've ever seen by a quarterback. Okay? And I'm of the opinion that this team needs to go a different direction. If he's hurt, they need to put him on the bench and bring somebody in that's healthy. And if he's not hurt and he's just struggling, you still need to bring somebody else in the game. Garrett Green was 4-5, 43 yards, 8.6 average, and a touchdown with a QBR of 69.8. Now, he only got 1 series of play, but he looked good in that series. And I know it was in garbage time, but still, Garrett is mobile. He can run the football. He gives our offense a totally different look, a totally different dynamic the defenses have to prepare for. And I think we need somebody like that right now. We need a spark. This team needs some kind of a spark. Garrett Green is a very energetic guy. He plays with a lot of energy and a lot of passion. And he's fast, he's athletic, and he's proven he can throw the football. Now, in the past, it's his decision-making that kept him off the field. But, guys, we're 3-6. We're last in the Big 12, and it's obvious JT Daniels is not performing. Whether it's injury-related or just performance-related, he's not getting the job done. And I know he's not the only reason for the performance. Receivers were dropping passes again. They weren't getting open consistently again. We couldn't run the ball. I mean, our running, for example, when you look at our overall rushing performance in this game, we only ran the ball for 76 yards on 22 carries, an average of 3.5 yards a carry. That's not going to get it done in Big 12 football. I'm sorry. It's not going to get it done. The offensive line was struggling. The running backs were struggling. Yes, we were injured at running back. I get it. We had some injuries on the offensive line. I get it. But this is big boy football. The guys behind them have to step up and make plays. And the depth on this team is not there. And I put that on the coaching staff, which I'll get to in a minute. But the performance just wasn't there. It was atrocious. Let's look at the overall team stats now offensively. West Virginia only had 11 first downs compared to 26 for Iowa State. Third down efficiency, West Virginia was only 2 out of 12 on third down. Iowa State was 4 out of 13, which wasn't fantastic. Fourth downs, West Virginia was 0 for 0. Iowa State 1 out of 1. Total yards, only 200 yards total for West Virginia, 391 for Iowa State. And this was a football team, guys, that was struggling to score against anybody. I mean, they were one of the worst offenses in the country. They put up 31 points on West Virginia, 391 yards of offense. Passing, West Virginia only 124 yards, Iowa State 219. Rushing, 76 yards for West Virginia, 172 for Iowa State. They averaged 4.5 yards per carry versus our 3.5. Penalties, West Virginia had 7 penalties for 64 yards. West Virginia remains to be one of the most highly penalized teams in the conference, if not the most penalized team in the conference. Just constant holding calls, false starts, you name it, just penalty after penalty. They had the one turnover, which was JT's interception, which was, in my opinion, a really bad decision. And we only held the ball for 21 minutes and 45 seconds compared to 38-15 for Iowa State. And once again, that was because our offense couldn't stay on the field. It was that simple. Our defense did not play terrible, especially in the first half. First 3 quarters, really, our defense played good. It was a 10-7 game going into the fourth quarter because our defense was doing their job. Defense obviously got worn down in the fourth quarter and gave up some points. But our offense did nothing to help them. I mean, just an absolutely atrocious performance. Sam James was our leading receiver, 3 catches for 38 yards and a touchdown. Justin Johnson Jr. carried the ball 12 times for 48 yards. I mean, there's not really even a whole lot to say on this game. It was just an absolutely atrocious performance. The team just wasn't prepared to play, it appeared. Once again, they continue to struggle on the road, which has been basically the story of the Neal Brown era here at West Virginia. And let's get into that. Let's get into the coaching. Something's got to give, folks. Neal Brown, as many times as I got to say it, I don't know. I don't know any fan. There might be 2 or 3 fans left that don't think a change needs to be made at the head coaching position. This just is not getting it done. He is 20-24 in his just over 3 years here, almost 4 years here. That's not acceptable at West Virginia University. We are top 15th all time in wins. We have a history of winning consistently. Have we competed for national championships on a regular basis? No. But we should not be satisfied with 500 or less football every year. That's not who we are as a program, and it's not who we strive to be as a program. And if leadership at this university, whether it be the Board of Regents, President Gee, whoever, doesn't make some changes, we need to scream it from the rooftops because it's not acceptable. And I'm of the opinion that not only does Neal Brown need to be fired, but I think Shane Lyons needs to be held accountable for the decisions he's made since he's been the athletic director. Giving Neal Brown that, if the buyout is what's holding up him from being fired, that buyout is in the lap of Shane Lyons because he had to approve that. I've heard Kelly Zinn may have been the one, our former associate AD who's now left for LSU. I've heard through some message boards and whatnot that she was the one who actually negotiated that deal with Neal Brown, that extension. But she was not the athletic director. So Shane Lyons had to sign off on it, or somebody had to sign off on that extension. And it was an absolutely terrible decision. It's proven to be a terrible decision because, we would owe Neal Brown a buttload of money if we fire him right now. And West Virginia continues to drag this out. And it's really frustrating as a fan. I'm actually mad about it. I'm mad that our administration doesn't care enough about football to do something about it. And I feel like that's what's going on. Now, I know it's not just an overnight decision. I know there are a lot of things at play. You've got contract negotiations. You've got, the buyout deal. You've got, who do you make the interim coach? You've got a lot of stuff behind the scenes that us fans don't see. You've got Board of Regents involved. You've got donors involved. You've got the president, the AD, a lot of different things at play here. But at the end of the day, something needs to be done to correct the direction of this football program because it's an absolute wreck. It's a dumpster fire. It's a mess. And I put it all at the feet of Shane Lyons and Neal Brown, and heck, maybe even President Gee. I don't know. I don't know what role he plays in it. I don't know how much say he has, or if he gives Shane Lyons full control of the athletic department, I'm not sure. But whoever it is, somebody's got to answer for it, and somebody needs to make some changes, and they need to make them now. Waiting to the end of the season to me is not acceptable because all these other teams have already gotten out ahead of us. They've let their coaches go. They've already started the behind the scenes work of looking for a head coach, and we're getting left behind, in my opinion. We need to make the change, and we need to make. We're only saving a few $1,000,000 by doing it now versus the end of the year. We're not saving that much money at this point in time. So go ahead and do it, in my opinion. Go ahead and do it if you've got the buyout money ready to go, which I've heard rumors that there are. And at this point, it's all rumors. There's been all kinds of rumors floating around on Facebook and Twitter and all over social media that aren't true, by the way. But that being said, something needs to change. Something needs to change fast because we do not need to accept what's going on right now at West Virginia University and this football program. Now, for a positive, I want to give a shout out right now to Dante Stills. Dante Stills played a really good football game the other day, or Saturday, I should say. His stat line, pretty impressive. He had 5 total tackles, 3 solo tackles, a sack, and 3 tackles for loss. So shout out to Dante Stills. He brought his A game on Saturday. He played well. He did his part as a leader and as a senior on this team to try to put this team in a position to win. And, he just didn't have a lot of help around him, unfortunately, at least especially on the offensive side. They did suffer some more injuries in this game, according to Coach Brown. Aubrey Burks, Charles Woods, and I think it was Wesley McCormick all got injured again in this game. So, I don't know the status of their injuries as far as long term, but, injuries don't help. But at the same time, like I said, they've not built depth. We've had so many people leave the program, which I put on the coaching staff. They've not been able to replace those guys with equally or more talented guys, or at least guys who were prepared to come in and play. There again, that's on the program. Every coach in America has to deal with the transfer portal, and other coaches have been successful with it. So the fact we haven't been is not anybody's fault but our coaching staff. So at the end of the day, it's on them, okay? And the buck stops with Neal Brown. Now, what are my opinion? I think Neal Brown needs to be I think Shane Lyons and Neal Brown both need to be let go. I think they need to go ahead and do it now, and I think they need to put Jeff Castile, our defensive analyst, or Chad Scott, a running backs coach, in place as an interim coach. Chad Scott, in my opinion, is arguably the best offensive coach on this staff. His running back room has developed and improved over time, game in, game out. You see what he did with C.J. Donaldson, a guy who wasn't even a running back when he got here. He's turned him into a stud, or helped turn him into a stud. You got to give Donaldson most of the credit, obviously. But, Tony Mathis has improved. We've seen improvement in Justin Johnson. So, in my opinion, Chad Scott deserves an opportunity to run this team. If not, if there's some reason behind the scenes or he doesn't want to do it, then maybe you put Jeff Castile in that role because Jeff Castile's been at West Virginia before. He coached here under Rodriguez. He coached here under Stewart, even 1 year under Dana. So he knows the program. He knows the culture. He could probably keep everything running smoothly. So put him in charge for the last few games of the season until they see this thing out. But with that being said, guys, let me know in the comment section what you think about Saturday's performance. Who do you think they should make the interim coach of West Virginia if Neal Brown gets fired? And what do you think about JT Daniels? Do you think they should try another quarterback the rest of the season and actually bench JT Daniels and maybe try Garrett Green and his running ability? Do they put Nico in there, give him the last 3 games so he can keep his red shirt and still get some snaps? Or do they go with Goose Crowder? What do you think they should do? I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Guys, if you want to support my channel financially, please check out my merch store. I recently added my new channel logo. I finally got some merch out there with my new channel logo on the front. So if you want to go check that out, for those of you who live in West Virginia and surrounding states, it's going to be that time of year where it's starting to get cold. So go get you a Cougars Corner hoodie to keep you warm this winter. Or I've got beanies as well. I call them toboggans, but most people call them beanies. I've got beanies over there as well you can check out, along with T-shirts, coffee mugs, and other things. You can also become a member of my channel by hitting the join button right below. Take advantage of the perks I have to offer. If you want to support my channel for free and you can't do it financially, there's 4 ways. You can like this video. You can share it out with your friends. You can drop that comment below. Last but not least, please subscribe to my channel. I'm getting really close to 4,000 subscribers. My goal is 5,000 by the end of the year. It's going to be tough to get there, but with your help, I can do it. So please help me do that by hitting the subscribe button if you haven't yet. And with that being said, I really appreciate your support. I appreciate you watching this episode. And until the next one, Q Country Roads.